Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we got for you today. 595 million XRP in 24 hours. 39% of Americans. Meta and Coinbase. We got Instagram news as well. We're also going to talk about the SEC and all the crypto exchanges being sued, possibly. ISO 20022 in the Big Bang early 23. And we're going to talk about CoinDesk, talking about new definition for broker-dealer. Brian Armstrong from Coinbase revealing what countries really want to do, and will the Fed be abolished? And if so, who will take their place? I've got an idea. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. Give us a follow on each of those platforms. $1.083 trillion market cap for crypto from Coin Paprika right here. Bitcoin right now, 23,000, slightly over. Ethereum, 1,600 plus right now, down from 1,700 this morning. Good afternoon, everybody. XRP is 37 cents. It's August 5th, 2022. Look at the range of price very quickly here. We're ranging between 36 and 38 cents. We'll keep an eye on it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know Link 2. It's private investing made simple. If you want to get great companies and shares in great companies like Ripple, Uphold, Link 2 themselves, or Dapper Labs, or Zipline, like right here, who's recently partnered with NASA, this is the kind of great quality opportunities you have to get into private investing at link2.com. Don't mess around. Click the link underneath the video in the description and comment section. Don't mess around. This stuff does not last long. I can tell you that. And there are great things coming, like possibly PolySign. Yeah, I don't know if it's coming, but it was, people were asking about it. I heard them asking about it. So let's keep an eye out for the great companies to come. And if not, don't miss out on the ones that are available right now. Take a look at this. 595 million XRP on the move in 24 hours. Well, so Daywalker says, what does it mean? Well, I can tell you what it doesn't mean. It ain't retail. I can tell you that, baby. That much I know for sure. New research shows that 39% of American investors are buying even more crypto as they look into new ways to invest and preserve their wealth as unfolding financial situation becomes more unclear. Well, isn't that the truth? And I tell you, in a time of uncertainty like we are in right now, that's why I focus on crypto, private equity, gold, and things of that nature, and fine art. You guys know I'm into that too. So, these are very big deals for me to be diversified in these areas, especially in this time of uncertainty. Instagram rolling out NFTs globally, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's happening. Now you think about that. Meta has also adopted Flow blockchain on top of expanding support for NFTs globally on Instagram. But it doesn't stop there. By the way, if you hear any noise, we got the long guy outside doing the yard, and it is really loud at times, so I apologize if you are hearing that. But right now, Meta integrates with Coinbase wallet. Now, this is coming right after the news of finding out that BlackRock has opened the door with a connection to Coinbase for its richest clients of the world to get Bitcoin. What do you think's going to happen? I tell you, even through all this uncertainty, I am sure that I'm seeing the right kind of signals for myself. Everyone has to do their own due diligence, not financial advice. But here's some more that just really sends it for me. This is a bunch of collage clips here from Digital Asset Investor. Says, a thought. BlackRock runs the world. Today they announced Coinbase partnership. The same Coinbase Gary Gensler is threatening to sue. And basically one phone call gets little Gary to back off. This goes in the All the World's a Stage folder. That came out yesterday, and I couldn't agree more. This here is Arfan, I guess it's Elahai Ahmed, and basically vice president of BlackRock. And what he says here is this. He says this right here. What this space needs is a decoupling from the meme coins and those with long-term utility use cases that will disrupt many industries in order for this space to grow and mature. And would you look at it? Quant, AVAX, ETH 2.0, he says, XDC, and XRP, many promising projects to take the crypto market by storm. I couldn't agree more. Now let's take a look at this very quickly. As a reminder, Attorney Hogan calls it out here. He accuses the SEC of not authenticating employees' speeches as just another delay tactic. Shout out to ProCoin News for that one. Give them a follow. Crypto whale just in. Every U.S. cryptocurrency exchange, and Binance included, is being investigated by the SEC, says Senator Loomis staffer. I went over this morning, and I tell you, I had a tweet not long ago. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. I'll try to find it for tomorrow. And essentially, I had a few things that I'm still buckled up waiting for. One was Gary Gensler to sue an exchange or exchanges, and it looks like we're well on our way for that one. The other one is the possible USDT Tether rug pull, and we're waiting for that one. You know, this is the kind of stuff we need to really pay close attention to. This market could bottom out even more should we see more action taken on that particular topic. Right here is bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers is proposing a bill that would redefine brokers to exclude miners and wallet manufacturers. This from Coinbase's Nicolesh Day. Let's take a listen right here.
If we go back a year to August 2021, the U.S. Senate introduced the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, which was this kind of massive sweeping bill that would, address a whole lot of infrastructure shortcomings in the U.S., including, for example, train tracks and things like that. Included in that bill was a provision to raise $28 million over the course of 10 years by clarifying tax reporting rules around brokers in the digital asset sector, so crypto brokers. Now, there was a huge controversy at the time because the definition of a broker itself was not entirely clear, right? So in theory, that should mean, for example, crypto exchanges, parties that, for a commercial activity, facilitate crypto transactions between two other parties. But it looked as if that definition in that bill could also include things like miners and hardware wallet manufacturers. So groups that don't necessarily contain or are able to collect the KYC information that these tax reporting rules required. Now, at the time, this was a huge thing. It actually bogged down the entire infrastructure bill for a tiny little bit. And in the end, due to some procedural stuff, the bill was not amended prior to its passage. Now, a group of senators, including Senator Toomey from the Senate Banking Committee, Senator Lummis, Senator Kristen Sinema, Mark Warner, and a few others are trying to take another whack at clarifying that the definition of a broker will not include hardware wallet manufacturers, software wallet creators, miners, or stakers, node operators. This is a similar, identical identical bill to an amendment that they proposed last year when the bill itself was still under consideration. Obviously, nothing happened. So now they're trying to get the Senate on board with saying, okay, well, Treasury has not yet formally released any guidance on this. They've indicated in the past that they're not going to collect, or require hardware manufacturers and miners to report this information. But we want to make sure that there's no possibility.
Exactly, because we have seen agencies double back on their word like it doesn't mean anything, and that is the truth. We will stay up to date on that. There's quite a few pieces of legislation out here that could get the job done. We need to pay very close attention when the Congress comes back from break. We have that short window between September and right up to the elections in November that they could get something done. We'll pay very close attention. The Bank of Thailand to pilot retail central bank digital currency by the end of 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in. And we got more news here. And remember this, I was talking about this, I just actually covered it yesterday about ISO 20022 with SWIFT and the November go live date. Well, I wanted to add to that because this was shared here. And don't forget about the Bank of England, which is a huge Ripple partner for many years. And Bank of England chaps the ISO 20022 migration project with a new live date postponed till spring 2023 with a big bang approach, which means flipping of a switch, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep a lookout for that from Bank of England next spring. Navati Ripple partner right here, user has been clear that they are expanding use in Southeast Asia beyond Philippines and Thailand. It says this April report from Emerald Financial Group provides more shape to this, noting execs have mentioned Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia as future locations, as you can see right there. Shout out to Ratha Kahneman for that information. Now look at this from Ratha Kahneman again, reminds us all about the QNB and Ripple right here. QNB Group unveiled, let me open this up really quickly. QNB Group unveiled new innovation payment solutions as a part of the payment ecosystem and strategy for cross-border payments, with Ripple being the first market to go through RippleNet. QNB enhances cross-border payments and expands its remittance service across multiple countries in quick succession. This partnership delivers near real-time payments to provide a unique, differentiated experience for QNB customers. QNB initially launched Ripple's global financial network technology, RippleNet, with QNB Finansbank in Turkey as a part of the group rollout, with the plan to expand to other key remittance corridors to other large countries in the near future. Now, I'm showing you this as a reminder that 95% of the customers for Ripple are outside of the United States. And remember what Brad Garlinghouse said, we are operating as if we have already lost the lawsuit in the US. That's why the expansion is happening so greatly outside the U.S. And I think it puts a pressure on the U.S. and certainly everything that's happening here to make sure that that gets done right in court, because I tell you, there is quite a bit of adoption that's taking place around the world. Now, this here is quite shocking. This comes from Kelly Wells, but it's really from Darren Moore. Give him a like and follow. Shout out to you, Darren. Always a great content provider. Listen to what Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase says about sovereign funds, which are funds for countries, and how much they want to really invest into crypto.
Help a lot. I do talk to, pension funds and, various asset managers, sovereign wealth funds and stuff. And a lot of them tell me, we've got 1% of our portfolio in crypto today, but we really would rather have like 20% in there. But what we're waiting for is more clear regulation coming out and saying that clear test that I was saying. These assets are commodities regulated by SEC, these are by SEC, these are by Treasury, whatever. So that would be a big unlock.
A sovereign wealth fund is a whole country, Brian.
Yes, it is. But very quickly, notice that he also delineated between the SEC, the CFTC, and the U.S. Treasury, ladies and gentlemen. And we do that here, too. Keep listening.
Brian Armstrong just said whole countries are willing to go from 1% of their portfolio up to 20% as soon as the U.S. gives clear guidelines on what's a commodity, what's a security, and what's a currency. A pension fund is an investment that pools everyone's retirements together, like unions or government employees. Going into crypto, going from 1% to 20%. Please take a moment to think about what that means. After the big guys get in, where will utility take us?
I mean, such a great question, because you're talking about investment with sovereign wealth funds, which is enormous to expand and balloon from 1% to 20%. But think about what Darren asked in that clip too. What happens when utility kicks in? And that's the real truth of any crypto project that has use case. This is a reminder right here from back in the day when Brad Garlinghouse was sitting on stage with none other than a lawyer from the IMF. I think it's Ross Lacow is how you say it. And listen to this quick little exchange, and then I've got something really powerful for you to see here.
You want to take one? Go for it. The first one's for you. IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe I should take what the IMF is going to do.
Yeah, there it is right there. So the IMF really can start using a crypto after a country adopts it. And you have to ask yourself, because I'm about to show you a clip here where this gentleman talking to Kitco is going to tell you that the Fed is pretty much going to be abolished because it's on a path of self-destruction and it's unstoppable. And he really says that there'll be a new central bank that will come out of that, and it will be digital and crypto that it comes out with. And one has to ask, with the current landscape the way it is, and I've said this many times on my channel, I believe that the rest of the world is being told you get onto the new system and the United States will come on last. Why is that? Because they're the ones who have the global reserve currency. They're the ones with the largest economy. So at the end of the day, they say it because if you go ahead and get on the new system, don't worry about us, we'll come on too. But they can't come out and get on the new system and then have a lot of these other countries around the world who are not really fans of either the US dollar as the global reserve currency or the country in general, or both. And if the US were to come out first, they could fall flat on their face and everybody else just simply refuse to do it. But if everyone else gets on the system first, then the biggest guy in the schoolyard comes on to play and says, now it's a party. But look at the situation we're currently in, because it's not a happy situation. XRP, I don't believe, was designed for a day that was 65 and sunny. I believe XRP was designed out of necessity for where the world is moving and to deal with the fact that the current debt-based system is in a place of bloat and insolvency, to be truthful. And at this point, this is the solution, I believe. It's not financial advice. How long would it take for that transition? Years? Or would it be the flip of a switch as well, just like the big bang cutover with the Bank of England has described in spring of next year? I don't know the answer, but one thing I do know is there has to be some other solution because the current system is in a place of fail. Take a listen here.
Let's move on to your presentation at this conference that you'll be making later in the day. The theme is the demise of the Federal Reserve. Right. Pretty strong words. What do you mean by that?
It is. It's something that the media hasn't caught on to yet, but it is the chain reaction of what is going on right now will lead to this. And basically, I'll be talking about how, the debt that the government is taking on, coupled with the Federal Reserve's balance sheet that keeps ballooning, coupled with interest rates that they just want to keep lower, will eventually create a situation, a collapse in the system where you will no longer see the Fed in its current form. It'll be kind of abolished, if you will. And that's going to happen strictly because the people will demand it. And they're going to go over it. It relates to cryptocurrency because eventually you're going to see a switch over to this kind of blockchain, crypto, digital currencies that will eventually be the future.
Okay, so you've outlined your thesis. Walk us through the mechanics of how this abolishment, this transition will happen, and what new form the Federal Reserve can take.
Yeah, so the chain of events started actually in 1977 with the dual mandate. So as soon as the Fed got put in the position of having to monitor unemployment plus inflation, that was the beginning of the end for the Federal Reserve. The reason it was is because basically, if you want to keep unemployment low at all times, which is what the Fed wants to do, you have to constantly stimulate the economy, right? By printing money and keeping interest rates low. Well, you can't be the parent that spoils the child and then also be the one that's hard-nosed and says, well, we're going to raise interest rates because inflation's getting out of control. You can't do that. And that was the beginning of the chain reaction that I'll talk about in the presentation. After the collapse, you'll see a new body come up that'll be in charge of the digital currency, whatever it may be, and eventually you'll see this digital currency probably being used all over the world, even as the reserve currency.
It's quite a statement right there when you hear that. And I think, what project in the crypto space has already pre-mined tokens in their capability, which has served to a great advantage of Ripple to be able to use XRP as money to incentivize and prime the pumps of the market infrastructure that has been built around the world? It's Ripple. It's Ripple. And I can't name to you in an unbiased way one other entity that has done the work that Ripple has. And in fact, I don't want to say it anymore. Let's let James Wallace remind us all of the BIS project, which is the central bank of central banks that is currently testing all the different best possible applications of central bank digital currencies and AN IRA, as they call it, which is really the Ripple system, which is to use a bridge currency between the central bank digital currencies of the world. Listen to this.
Right, we're using the same technology that it's with the XRP ledger. The token would be the CBDC, right? So the central bank would actually create their own token, a digital euro, digital dollar, whatever the market is, and that becomes the digital asset.
So that becomes the digital asset. Keep listening. And before we go any further, if that gentleman, Gareth Soloway, is right, that was talking on Kitco, he's saying basically this new digital product coming out on this new Fed, could that potentially, I asked the question seriously, could that potentially mean that Ripple becomes a central bank? They are the steward of the escrow currently. Or does Ripple remain like a blockchain infrastructure and go on to become like a Google and an IBM? Does it become PolySign? You know, the idea that, you know, there is an escrow means there's a third party that monitors the escrow. That just by definition of escrow means third party holds it. Ripple is the steward that receives the release every month, and they do a fantastic job of making sure the people get it that need it, and the rest of it goes on the back end. Now, the interesting thing is could it end up being PolySign or Standard Trust? I believe PolySign is really like the new version of the DTCC, and RippleNet is the new version of SWIFT. When you hear Ripple say that they're building market infrastructure for this new system, this is the level I believe Ripple has been building on. They're not building applications so you can spend crypto to buy coffee. That's not what they do. It's what their customers do, right? Very interesting moment here. Keep listening to what he says here.
The native coin.
The native coin, yeah. Now, where XRP could come into play potentially is when you're looking at cross-border CBDC. So when you have a digital dollar and you have a digital, real, or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier with our on-demand liquidity.
So essentially, the BIS calls the XRP-Ledger Ripple model the mBridge. So when you see them talking about mBridge and the BIS and how that works so good, they're talking about the XRP-Ledger in my mind.
But the core offering really is not XRP. There's no XRP involved. It's the native token is the CBDC.
And that's the important part to know about this. You want to talk about interoperability? There's no greater sense of interoperability than the foundation of what you offer is to house the native currencies of the world. And where needed, there is this token that sits on the ledger that can allow you to settle through cross-border without pre-funding accounts. And for the first time in the history of mankind, you can unlock $25+ trillion that lies dormant in this world so they can begin to build back better, whatever the hell that means, or whatever it is they plan on doing, and get their house in order. And hopefully what they do is not according to the World Economic Forum, because that is creepy. But nevertheless, as we move towards this new world, this new system, we're moving away from the debt-based system into a multipolar asset-backed system. And what better way to have that than an mBridge, where the true native currencies on a ledger are the money of the world and the countries and governments, and the XRP token is not something that competes with it, but merely complements it. Look, that's going to do it for me. Happy Friday, everybody. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. I can't wait to see your comments on this one. And by the way, not financial advice, just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.